Hello from London, and it's Quick Tip Tuesday, and this is the 7th in the mini-series on working one-to-one with a language teacher. For example, online through a platform such as Skype, or even physical lessons. If you're new here though, first, welcome. I'm Dr. Gareth Popkins. Here we talk about language learning from many angles. It's not only tips and methods, it's reviews of language learner events and materials, interviews with inspiring language learners and movers and shakers from the world of language learning, and a bit of my own vlogging from language events and a bit of travel. So if you've not yet subscribed for the vibe, please do. And if you'd like to get my free webinar language skills training, you can get that by following the link underneath this video. Now, in one of the previous Quick Tip Tuesdays in this series, I looked at the importance of having realistic expectations with your work when you're working with a teacher. I was saying, the teacher can explain, can model, the teacher can give you corrective feedback, the teacher can inspire and motivate you, give you tips on methods, and give you wider guidance. What the teacher can't do is beam the language into your head or learn for you. In addition to looking at realistic expectations, in another of the earlier videos in the series, we looked at goal setting. You've got a limited budget perhaps, and so you want to decide what you're going to focus on. Is it going to be conversational skills, pronunciation, general language learning, writing skills, or what? And I suggested you could take a SMART analysis. So choose an intermediate goal for the next few months, for example, that's specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and time-bound. That's a way to really use the time that you've got with the teacher and the budget that you've got efficiently. And today's topic links up with both those previous themes, realistic expectations and goal setting. So what I'm talking about still goes to the topic of efficiency in using the teacher whose time you are paying for. And it is prefer tasks that you can't do on your own. Now this may seem like common sense, but I've certainly been in situations with teachers where I'm thinking, and this has been true in classrooms too, actually I could be doing this more efficiently even perhaps on my own and doing something with the teacher where I really need somebody else's help. For example, don't spend time with the teacher engaged in silent reading or writing practice. These are things you should be doing before the lesson. Similarly, don't sit with the teacher watching video clips, or for that matter, audio. Don't do things like online quizzes. I've had teachers who are very taken with the latest technology. They share the screen with me and have me go through multi-choice or other types of quizzes where I'm dragging items of clothing around the screen and dropping them on the body and that sort of thing to learn clothing, for example. No, that sort of thing you can do on your own. What you need to be doing with a teacher, I think, is first of all personalised stuff that you can't get elsewhere. So that might be talking about or collecting useful phrases about your own pet topics. That's to say, talking about yourself perhaps, your career, your particular interests or reasons for learning, or getting the vocab and the phrases ready for a particular trip or task that you've got coming up in your language. Also, you can get bespoke explanations of structures that you'll find difficult in the language, where you found it hard to find explanations in the books or online. And then all that passive stuff that I mentioned, like reading and writing, you can activate that. So do the reading beforehand or the writing, and then, and we've talked about this before in other videos, you can, for example, retell the teacher what you've written or paraphrase it. And with writing, you can then have the writing exercises corrected by your teacher during the lesson, and then you can ask any follow-up questions, and it's going to refocus you on the work that you've done, the written work that you've done before the lesson. Now, these, I think, are good rules of thumb to have to really squeeze maximum value out of the one-to-one sessions that you have. Now, nothing in language learning, of course, is black and white, so I want to put in a bit of a proviso to what I've just said. I myself sometimes do the written exercises from one of my Basque textbooks during a one-to-one lesson with a teacher, for example. I tend to do it after we've had maybe a half-hour lesson conversing generally, and then we'll move for the final 10 or 15 minutes into doing some exercises from one of my textbooks, which have actually been designed to be done as written exercises, but I do them orally with her. Part of the reason for that is it puts me under a bit extra pressure to perform than would otherwise be the case, I think, if I was doing the exercises in writing. It also breaks up the lesson a bit, and the truth is sometimes if I didn't build in these exercises, mainly they're revision exercises for me, then they probably wouldn't happen at all. And that's the big thing, isn't it? This is all very well if you're motivated and good at being an independent language learner. But if you're someone who really needs the lessons in order to make sure you get stuff done, and you want to be guided through, then in that case, it's going to mean you're going to need more lessons, of course, but of course sit and read, sit and do quizzes and exercises, and do some writing in real time with your teacher. So it's all about what works for you, and our definitions, I suppose, of efficiency are also going to depend partly on what we're looking for and what we know about our own personalities and motivation. Have you maybe stopped doing some things with a teacher when you felt it just wasn't efficient and switched to other tasks? Let me know your experience in the comments below. There's one more coming up in this series of tips for working with a teacher, so look out for that video. In the meantime, thanks a lot for being with me again today. Don't forget to subscribe for the vibe, throw me a thumbs up, tickle that bell, and share the affair. See you next time.